Great. Okay. Well, Prynhawn da, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to this Cabinet meeting of Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council on Wednesday, the 2nd of February at 4 p.m. We'll move straight into the agenda. Can I just check? Oh, please remember that these meetings are recorded as well. Just a little reminder for everybody. I'm sure you're very au fait and aware of that right now. We'll move straight into the agenda. The first item on the agenda are apologies for absence.
I think all members are present, Chair.
Thank you. And secondly, just to remind members with regards to declarations of interest, are there any declarations of interest? No? OK. Monitoring Officer, can you just bear with me 1 second? Apologies, I just need to mute for 1 second, literally 2 seconds. Is that OK? Is that permitted?
Of course.
My apologies, I'm back with you. OK, we'll move to straight to agenda item number 3 into the open session then, if there were no declarations of interest, and that is to look at strategic items. And the first strategic item we'll be discussing today is the Revenue Budget 2022-23 and the Medium Term Financial Plan update, and to consider a report of the Chief Executive. And I understand that Councillor Chris Davies, you'll be taking this item for us.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Leader. Diolch yn fawr. Yes, obviously, cabinet members will be aware that this report has come here this afternoon. It's been through, obviously, a workshop with councillors. It also went to Governance Audit and Joint Scrutiny Committee earlier last week, and it's due to also having come here to go to full council for debate and discussion this evening as well. So, Leader, I think it's fair to say it's had quite considerable discussion and airing by members. Obviously, the summary of the report is contained in section 1.1 to 1.5. Just quickly, take Cabinet through just some of the highlights of it. Obviously, section 3 of the report sets out obviously the medium-term financial plan position of the authority, and those couple of bullet points at 3.1 set out the projected deficit positions of the life of this MTFP. 3.2, Chair and members, is a very interesting one because obviously it talks about obviously the impacts of council tax, the pay award and the funding increases. Section 4 talks about the provisional settlement that we had the announcement on very late in the day on the 21st of December, and those bullet points just give a real interesting brief analysis of the settlement position and some of the characteristics around that. The officer, Steve, and his team have set out the position in respect of the budget financial plan updates and obviously some of the revised MTFP positions at section 5 in the table 1, Leader. Obviously, 5.5 outlines the budgeted additional demands that are in the MTFP and inclusion, and they are included in the appendices, along with 5.9, which are the efficiency proposals, which are included in Appendix 4. Leader, is interesting for members to note, obviously, 5.11, the position with regards to the pay award projection. It was set at 1.75 and we budgeted it for 1.75, but obviously there's been discussions with obviously the employer side and the unions now where we've been asked to consider a pay award position of 4% and the obviously impact that will have on council and on council's budget. At 5.13, 5.14, obviously our settlement includes a provision for the real living wage for care workers, which this council absolutely supports. We are still working out what the distribution and impact of that for us could be in Merthyr Tydfil, but it's roughly projected at around about £782,000 currently. Obviously, work is being done with all groups across the council currently in respect of obviously council tax. The MTFP currently includes a provision of 3.55%, but obviously over the coming weeks we'll be talking around what that will be, and that will be subject to a special cabinet and council meeting in the coming weeks. Members will be aware of the current position in regards to the update of the Consumer Price Index, and that was announced on the 19th of January, and that's currently been set and confirmed at 5.4%, and obviously all of the implications of that alongside the increases that have been proposed for national insurance contributions. So, what was, Leader, a 9% settlement for Merthyr Tydfil with a number of caveats, a number of elements of restricted budget will leave us with possibly, an outturn position of around £503,000. So I'll move to the recommendations contained in section 2 of the report, Leader, and they are that the implications of the provisional local government settlement for 22-23 outlined in section 5 and appendices 1 and 2 be noted and accepted. 2.2, the net additional demands where they've not already been approved, outlined in section 5 and appendix 3, be recommended to council for approval. 2.3, the efficiencies proposals where not already approved, outlined in section 5 and appendix 4, be recommended to council for approval. The pay award projections outlined in section 5 and appendix 5 be recommended to council for approval. And 2.5, Chair, the real living wage for care workers impact outlined in section 5 be recommended to council for approval, and subject to questions and comments from members of the Cabinet, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. And do I have a seconder to that?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to this item? No? Okay. Any observations in relation to this item? Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
Yes, thanks, Chair. Although, what seems to be a very good settlement on paper at 9%, it's really disappointing when you break it down to what we were left with afterwards. We were third best last year. This year we are 16th, and it just appears, from us and for the public of Merthyr Tydfil that the richer areas are getting richer and the poorer are poorer. And we do need levelling up and we do need balancing. And I think, from your Chair, I think we need to take a discussion to Welsh Government about how they fund areas of deprivation like Merthyr Tydfil.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Councillor Chris Davis.
Yeah, I don't think I could said that any better than Councillor Thomas. Really, I just want to echo and support his comments. Areas like Merthyr Tydfil have worked so hard, over the last 18-20 months to respond to COVID, supporting our communities. Whilst what looks like a good settlement on paper, has had quite a significant number of strings and caveats attached to it. Notwithstanding the pay award and the certainties around that, the real living wage for carers, which we absolutely, applaud and accept and recommend. National insurance contributions, increasing energy costs, Leader. The financing of our RTI plan that our officers have worked so hard to do. The money we've needed to invest into increasing the capacity across the organisation. Our council's commitment to schools. Additional learning needs and the special recuperation budget, alongside the additional demands that the council needs to continue to deliver the best services to the communities of Merthyr Tydfil, has meant that our budget is really stretched. We'll continue to keep doing the good job. And just in closing, I just wanted to put on record my thanks, Cabinet's thanks to all of the officers right across corporate management team, SLT, and our staff, but in particular Steve as our Chief Finance Officer and his officers in the Finance and Accountancy Department for the excellent work that they do. This is a moving feast, Leader, as you know, day by day, hour by hour, sometimes with the figures. Just wanted to say my thanks to Steve and his team and everybody else involved in the preparation of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. And colleagues, just, you know, as chair and as leader as well, I just again want to give a nod to all of the staff and the officers putting this work together, having to chop and change that, you know, as we realise some additional demands placed upon us as late as today, actually. But obviously, you know, I do echo everything that you and Cabinet have said previously and today as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Councillor Davis. If there are no further observations, then colleagues, I'll go straight to the vote, and in this case, all those in favour of the report, if you can please show your hand on the screen.
That's carried, Chair.
Thank you, Monitoring Officer. Okay, so if we take a chance just to lower our hands, and then we'll move on to agenda item number 4, and that is the Annual Equality Report 2020-2021. Again, to consider a report of the Chief Executive, and Councillor Chris Davis, I believe I'm...
You are, Chair. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really delighted, you know, as a long-standing, you know, advocate, someone who's really passionate about equalities and a former equality champion at this council, to bring forward this excellent report that's been prepared by some really passionate, dedicated and really committed officers of the council. So section 3 of the report outlines, obviously, the background, sets the legal background and position with regards to the Equality Act 2010, which brought a range of all of the pieces of equality legislation together in respect of obviously our general and public sector duties, and lists the areas of protected characteristics. Leader, you know, section 3.6 and 3.7 set out the specific duties across Wales. Section 3.10 talks about the requirements for publishing and preparing an annual report. We then come to the report itself for section 4, and what the officers have done is really given a snapshot under each of the areas of the council's business, and then the elements of protected characteristics, some of the real progress that the council has made right across the organisation, across departments, and also with our partners in the community and within the private sector. You know, we mustn't forget, Leader, obviously, you know, the changes that have come about during the pandemic and the work the Welsh Government have done. Section 6 then talks about the responsibilities for council, not just to consider a public sector equality duty, but a socio-economic duty, and all the hard work that officers have put into to this. This is an absolutely fantastic report, and I'm really, really pleased to be bringing it this afternoon to Cabinet, and also it be coming to full council this evening as an information report for all members. So, subject to questions and comments, Chair, I'll move to the recommendations at 2.1 that the council's annual equality report for 2020-2021 be approved, and I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Do I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I'm delighted to second that. I'd like to second it.
Lovely. Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to this item? If there aren't any questions, are there any observations in relation to this item? May I make an observation myself then, please? Again, I just want to echo what you've said, Councillor Chris Davis. You know, it is a really detailed report, you know, and it really does go into specific areas of the support that has taken place, the equality and diversity throughout the organisation, you know, including many of our ethnic minority groups, etc., schools, the COVID pandemic. It really does go right across the board, including the National Day of Reflection, etc. You know, it really was a very thorough report, an interesting report as well, with some data to support it, which is also really important. So again, I just want to echo your thanks to those officers for producing that and taking this moving, this particular item. So colleagues, I'll move straight into the vote then, as it's been moved and seconded. Can I ask all those in favour to show your hands on the screen, please?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you, Monitoring Officer. Just take a second to lower your hands. Thank you. OK, we now move into the portfolio items. Agenda item number 5 is in regards to Upper Colliers Row in Hil Gerrig, and it's a proposed prohibition of driving traffic regulation order to receive a report of the Chief Officer of Neighbourhood Services. And I believe Councillor Michelle Jones, you're taking this report. Can you lower your hands, colleagues, please, before we go into that item? Councillor
Thank you.
Thomas. Thank you both. Okay, Councillor Michelle Jones.
Thank you. Yeah, the report is to recommend approval to publish a public notice informing of the County Boroughs Council's intention to make a permanent prohibition of driving traffic regulation order to close the road to traffic due to fly tipping issues, and in the event of no objections, the order is to be made. Therefore, we recommend that public notice be given of the County Borough Council's intention to make a permanent traffic regulation order under the Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984, the effect of which is detailed in the schedule at approval B, be approved. In the event of no objections being received, the making of the said permanent order be approved. If objections are received, a report is presented to the appropriate committee for consideration as soon as practicable, be approved, and I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. And do I have a seconder to that report, please?
Yes, very happy to second that, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to this report? No? Okay. Any observations in relation to this report? No? Oh, Councillor Thomas, late to the line.
Thank you, Chair. As you all know, this has been a long time in the making, a long time coming. The residents of Upper Colliers Road will be very pleased that this report has come to Cabinet today, because I think the lives haven't been the best when they've got to put up with fly tipping constantly on a daily, weekly basis. So it will definitely give them control of the area, and I know they're going to be very, very happy. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Okay, colleagues, if there aren't any other observations, we'll move straight into the vote then, please. All those in favour, if you would raise your hand.
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you, Monitoring Officer. Just a second to take your hands down. Okay, agenda item number 6 is where we move into information reports. Agenda item, that is an information report regarding the appointment of local authority governors. And agenda item number 7 is any other urgent business, any other business deemed urgent by myself. I have none. However, agenda item number 8, in order to for the following items to be considered, I need somebody to vote to section 100, please.
Can I call for section 100, please, Chair?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Thomas. And colleagues, I need everybody to vote then in favour of that. Oh, Monitoring Officers are right.
You just need a seconder first. Yeah.
We jumped in. I forgot we need our seconder.
Yeah, Chair, I'm delighted to second the motion to move section 100.
Thank you. How remiss of me. Thank you, Councillor Davis. OK, it's been moved and seconded. Can all those in favour of the section 100 please raise your hands on the screen?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. OK, and I'll just make sure that there's no members of the public left in the meeting. I'll just give them a second or two.